So this is the week after Congress passed the big, beautiful budget bill. I don't know how many B's.
By the way, I hate that term.
Dude, you know what's amazing about that term? Number one, I didn't realize it was supposed to be clowning on like Biden's Build Back Better. Like
I didn't realize that either. I thought it was just something Trump said.
Yeah. Well, yes, but like truly it is what the media is using to talk about this bill.
Christ.
Like that's the word. I mean, I think a lot of them are using quotations, but like it's like the big beautiful bill. Oh yeah, the big beautiful bill, big beautiful bill. Bad built butch blonde what is it? Beach bill. Yeah, some people are calling it the MAGA murder bill. I like that. It passed, if you remember, 214 to 215. RIP Jerry Connolly, who could have made the difference, maybe. It cuts $880 billion from Medicaid, although, of course, Mike Johnson said, no, it just cuts the people who don't deserve to be on Medicaid and are, robbing us. And it's like, okay.
By the way, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Going back to our earlier conversation, I love that they keep saying able-bodied men. Like we're the only people we're cutting out of Medicaid are able-bodied men. Everything else is there's a war on men. There's a war on masculinity. But whenever they want to cut, it's always like, well, it's just men who could work but aren't.
Well, that's how they think they're going to cure you of like these thoughts of like, self-reflection and empathy by removing your health care.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. And of course, obviously the richies get a tax break if you make more than, I think, $3.5 million a year. You get a big old tax break. I'm not sure if it's, I'm trying to find out. I think it makes them permanent or a very long, like for the next 10 years, it's a tax
good.
breaks.
Finally.
Yeah.
Love that.
Also, if you have a tanning bed, you get a little bit of a tax break.
And here's the thing is we're at a point where I don't know if you're joking or not. Like I genuinely, we live in a world where if you were like, yeah, there's like certain things like tanning beds, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, sure. That's in there, I'm sure.
I mean, that's why like writing topical jokes or anything satirical is like, why the would you do it? Because yes, there is a tax break for tanning beds. And here's the thing, it moves now to the Senate, and the Senate is a little shakier on it, although I feel like this is all just one big wind up to passing something awful. But Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Josh Hawley are these three holdouts. And again, this is filibuster proof because it's all through the budget. None of it should be done through the budget, but it is. And especially when it comes to like rescinding healthcare for people, how the is that budgetary? But again, they're trying to say it's budgetary, even though, again, the amount of money it costs when people don't have their healthcare is far greater. But Ron Johnson and Rand Paul hate this bill because it adds $4 trillion or $5 trillion or something like this to the deficit, which is already at 137. And they're trying to be consistent, which good on them. Here's Rand Paul.
Somebody has to stand up and yell, the emperor has no clothes, and everybody's falling in lockstep on this. Pass the big, beautiful bill. Don't question anything. Well, conservatives do need to stand up and have their voice heard. This is a problem we've been facing for decades now, and if we don't stand up on it, I really fear the direction the country is going.
Oh, yeah, you fear it now. Now,
so scary.
He doesn't fear it because of like everything else. He's just like, but the deficit.
Which also can tax the rich people. Like I don't mean to give you a magic fucking solution, but don't give them a giant tax break. It's almost like what makes me so mad about those, like the senators saying that stuff is they never go to step 2 of that, which is let's remove the massive tax break. Because that will add to the deficit. Let's stop firing IRS workers who go after rich people.
Exactly. 100%. Like the amount of money, like the internal revenue, like it makes money. It's the Internal Revenue Service. It's the only part of the government that is making money because it's collecting money from us. And because they're part of the, I don't know if it's the top 1%, but like the top 10% for sure. There's some new reporting out from the American Prospect that basically shows that I think six or seven Republican Congress people who decided to gut Medicaid and vote yes on this bill saw that they actually personally would make a bunch of money from it. And so that's why they did it. They were like, yeah, okay, that's easy. But yeah, so Rand Paul, it's very easy why and how we're adding to the deficit. It's everything that your party has stood for a very long time. Here's Ron Johnson sort of echoing that.
I couldn't care less if he's upset. I'm concerned about my children, my grandchildren, and the fact that we are stealing from them. We are stealing from our children and grandchildren. $37 trillion in debt, and we're going to add to it as Republicans? That is unacceptable. And that's why there's no way I'm going to vote for this bill in its current form.
Okay, so...
There's going to be like a Brady Bunch transition where like there's a slide whistle and he's like, I'm voting for the bill now.
I've had I consulted with my family and we prayed on it. And we mostly prayed for money. And then we were like, oh, look, this happens to give us more of that. And so I'm going to be voting yes. But yeah, there's two parts of this, I think, that are interesting. One is sort of, yes, the fake croc tears for, the deficit. But then there's the, which I might have misstated as 137. It might just be 37 trillion. 137 trillion feels like a lot, even for me. But the other part that both you saw Rand Paul and Ron Johnson do is step to Trump. The emperor has no clothes on. I don't care if he's upset. That's interesting. Now, it seems like both of them are not up for re-election until 2028, so they feel comfortable doing that. And I would argue even if they weren't up until then, now is actually probably when there is more political bandwidth to throw Trump under the bus. I mean, who knows how bad things can get. But you know what I mean? Like the Elon stuff is still fresh and Elon's money can't actually, sway elections, at least proven by the Wisconsin, judicial vote. But what do you make of that? Like the fact that they feel comfortable saying that.
Well, I think a huge part of it is like you're saying they're not up for re-election for a while. But I also think you're right. It's sort of like one of those things where if they get the changes they want, they could just be like, we were just negotiating hard. And also if, Trump, flies a Zeppelin into Mount Rushmore, they can be like, see, I was criticizing him all along. Like, I feel like it's like when you play both sides.
Well, it'll be the Qatari jet.
Yeah, it'll be a $200 million jet. Like, it's just like, but they're gonna like, I think they know that they can kind of play both sides. They can be like, I'm a tough, upstanding Republican, and then give Trump basically whatever he wants. I mean, even Trump has said, I'm sure some of the changes the Senate will make are things I want. He didn't phrase it that coherently, but that's what he said. Yeah. And it's sort of like, this, I don't know, it feels like professional wrestling almost. Like the way a lot of Republican stuff do, where it's a lot of like chest thumping and then, almost the way those 5 or 6 or 7 Republicans who weren't going to vote for the budget were until like they raised like the salt cap by like $8 and they were like, yep, I'm going to hit the button. We're all good now. It just feels like professional wrestling to tell your voters, especially like voters who might be purpley or maybe, on the fence, just to be like, see, I'm tough on Trump when I need to be, but also give him everything he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I think it's part of like the veneer of still having a government. Yeah. You're like, this is not a hostile government takeover. This is not authoritarianism. I still have the power of the purse. And I'm, when ultimately I do think they're going to throw down with this massive tax break. And the fact that they don't care about Medicaid, and I will shout out that like Josh Hawley, is a psycho-Christian nationalist freak, but he, wrote an op-ed in the New York Times that was like, we need to not cut Medicaid. This is political suicide. And he may be handsomely rewarded by like maintaining his seat because of it. I mean, who knows? Maybe he sees some writing on the wall. I mean, the writing on the wall we all see. But here's Speaker Johnson, which I just have to play this because it's so funny. He's responding to Ron Johnson because Speaker Johnson's like, we did our job. I gave you the votes. Can you give me yours? What are you doing now? And it's going to go to committee. They're going to like rehash it. They might create a whole new bill, but Take a listen.
We've got to turn this aircraft carrier. You don't turn an aircraft carrier on a dime. It takes a mile of open ocean to do it. And it took us decades to get in this financial situation. We can't just flip a switch and get out of it overnight. One of the people that my friend Ron Johnson really respects is Russ Vought, who directs the Office of Management and Budget. And Russ is a big champion for this piece of legislation. He calls it historic. And he's a fiscal hawk, and so am I. So we're doing as much as we can.
What am I supposed to go cold turkey on the debt? Are you kidding me?
Come on, man. Just one more hit of debt. Just one more hit.
Just one more hit. What's it going to hurt?
And they can't even confess that they don't care about the debt. Like, they have to, like, pretend they do while still, like, blowing it up far more than any Democratic president does.
Well, my favorite about that is he's shouting out Russ Vought, who is the guy who's the head of Office of Management and Budget, who is part of Project 2025, who I think he was the one who said we want to put federal workers in trauma.
Yeah.
And so Mike Johnson doesn't think this is like, it doesn't look like the W that he's making it look like. Like, even Russ Vought is for it, and he's a fiscal hawk. No, Russ Vought and fiscal hawkishness in general is a fallacy. It's a lie. Just some 1,000. Shit you say. But when you want the tax break, when your corporate buddies want it, you can find all the money in the world. So, like, you basically are just hypocrites. So own that. I think it's really funny that he's like, well, Russ Vought likes it. And it's like, no, buddy, this is what Russ Vought was like, primed to do.
Also, I don't think, like, I know that Russ Vought is a powerful figure. I don't think that he's a very popular or super well-known figure. Like, even to Fox News viewers, I don't imagine them being like, Russ Vought likes it, then I'm all good. Like, yeah. I think that they're like, wait, who's that guy that looks like David Cross? Like, they don't know.
Wow, that's so mean. That was CNN, but yes, of course. I mean, Fox News is not even asking them that question. Like, they don't care. They're like, does it have a stipulation about taking down pride flags? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's all I want is one trans girl to not being able to play soccer and feel bad. You could take away my health care as long as, a handful of trans children hate their lives.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do